Few firearms in history have a reputation as legendary as the Thompson submachine gun, better known as the Tommy gun. It's a weapon with dual identities, the trusted companion of Allied soldiers in World War II, and the favored firepower of gangsters during Prohibition. Nicknamed the Chicago typewriter, this iconic weapon wasn't just a tool of war. It was a symbol of chaos, power, and innovation. But what you might not know is that behind the Tommy gun's fame lies a series of wild experiments, powerful variants, and bizarre prototypes. Today we're going to dive deep into the weird and wonderful evolution of the Thompson, from trench broom to international icon. The Origins, the Annihilator, and the Persuader. Long before the Tommy gun earned its reputation on the streets of Chicago, it began as a radical idea to dominate the trench warfare stalemate of World War I. John Taliaferro Thompson, a seasoned Army ordnance officer, envisioned a trench broom, a fully automatic weapon so powerful that one soldier could, in his words, wipe out a whole company single-handedly. In 1917, the first prototype came to life, the Persuader. That sounds intimidating, right? Unfortunately, its performance didn't live up to its name. It was chambered in .45 ACP and used a cloth tape feed to hold the bullets. This unreliable system caused constant jams, turning the would-be trench-clearing monster into more of a headache than a hero. But Thompson wasn't done. He kept refining the design, and the next prototypes, known as the Annihilator series, improved reliability, fire rate, and internal mechanics. Several were tested by the U.S. Army, but the war ended before they could be mass-produced. Eventually, all that tinkering led to the M1919, the final prototype before full-scale production began. The Tommy gun goes to war. Production models. In 1921, the world finally met the production-ready Thompson, the M1921. Initially pitched to military and law enforcement agencies, the gun quickly found its way into less official hands. While the U.S. Army forces bought a few, organized crime fell in love with the Tommy gun's high rate of fire, 800 rounds a minute, and compact size. It was perfect for bank robberies, shootouts, and dramatic movie scenes. As the military warmed up to the Thompson, they introduced improved models. The M1928 and M1928A1 featured better recoil, a reduced rate of fire, and structural tweaks like a compensator and redesigned foregrips. The U.S. Marine Corps used them, as did British and French forces. And then came World War II. America needed more guns, fast. Enter the M1 and M1A1. These versions were simplified for mass production, ditched the iconic drum magazine in favor of 20 and 30 round sticks, and were easier to maintain. Even after newer weapons like the M3 grease gun arrived, the Thompson stuck around, serving in World War II, Korea, and even making surprise appearances in Vietnam. The M1923, the heavy-hitter Tommy gun. The standard Tommy gun fired the same .45 ACP round as the Colt 1911 pistol, a slow but heavy-hitting bullet. But what if you needed more firepower? That's where the M1923 Heavy Thompson came in. Built off the M1921 design, this beast featured a longer barrel with cooling ribs, a beefed-up frame, and a new cartridge, the .45 Remington Thompson. This round was no joke, doubling the muzzle velocity of the original .45 ACP at 1,450 feet per second. The M1923 was essentially firing full-auto Magnum rounds. It was pitched as a competitor to the Browning automatic rifle, the BAR, but the military passed. Only a few prototypes were ever made. Still, it proved one thing: you could make a Tommy gun terrifying in entirely new ways. Are you ready to meet the trench-clearing, gangster-stopping legend of firepower? Well, let me introduce you to the legendary Thompson submachine gun. This 1/3 scale accurate replica is 10 inches or 28 centimeters when assembled, and it weighs in at a robust 10 ounces. Made from die-cast black metal with a wood-grain acrylic stock, it features a functional bolt, a squeezable trigger, and a removable metal magazine with working mag release. While it doesn't cycle dummy rounds or fire, it includes 3 non-firing .45 rounds for display. With a closed barrel and included trophy stand, it is a true collector's piece, easy to assemble and built to impress. So whether you're channeling your inner 1920s mobster or World War II paratrooper, the Thompson is your kind of firepower. Consider adding the mini ammo can too, accessories sold separately. Grab yours through the link in the description and help support simple history. Display it on your desk, pose with your pet, gift it to a friend, or trade it with fellow collectors. Oh, and one more thing, use our code at checkout for 10% off. Turning the Tommy into a rifle, the Thompson Light Rifle. By the 1940s, the military needed something lighter than a rifle, but more capable than a pistol. A new competition aimed to create a lightweight semi-auto carbine for support troops, drivers, artillery crews, and others not on the front lines. Auto Ordnance, the company behind the Thompson, entered with the Thompson Light Rifle. But there was one big problem. It was supposed to weigh under 5 pounds, and it came in at over 10. Despite the weight, the design was clever. It fired the .30 carbine round, had a quick-change barrel system, and featured stamped steel parts for easier production. It was even capable of both semi and full auto fire, a rare feature at the time. Unfortunately, it lost out to what became the legendary M1 carbine. There was also a wild attempt to chamber a Thompson in .30-06, the full-size rifle round used in the M1 Garand. Only one prototype was made, and thankfully no one had to fire that shoulder shredder in battle. British experiments, the BSA Thompson. The Tommy gun may be an American icon, but across the Atlantic, the British were also intrigued. In 1926, Birmingham Small Arms (BSA) produced a radically reimagined Thompson chambered in 9mm. This version looked barely like a Tommy gun, resembling more of a traditional rifle. With a blistering rate of fire at 1,200 rounds a minute, it was fast, too fast. It was nearly impossible to control, and only a handful were built before the project was shelved. They tried again in 1929, this time with multiple calibers, a compensator, and better sights, but even then only about 10 to 15 were ever produced. The Silenced Assassin, the Quiet Thompson. During World War II, British commandos needed a weapon for silent operations behind enemy lines, and the Thompson, firing a naturally subsonic round, was a perfect candidate for a suppressor. They mounted a hefty suppressor on the M1 Thompson, reducing its noise significantly. While it performed well in the field, it came at a cost. The suppressor added over 9 inches and more than 2 pounds of weight to an already bulky gun. The silenced Thompson saw limited use before being replaced by the lighter, quieter, suppressed Sten gun in 1943. Tommy guns in China, an unlikely battlefield. In the 1930s, the U.S. shipped surplus Thompsons to China to help fight Japanese forces. Many were outdated M1921s, and China began producing its own copies, especially in Sichuan province. The big issue? Ammo. The .45 ACP was rare in Asia, so many of these Chinese Thompsons were rechambered for 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev, a far more available round. Ironically, both sides of the Chinese Civil War used Thompsons. And during the Korean War, Chinese forces, now under communist control, clashed with U.S. troops, with both sides sometimes armed with the same gun. Confusion in the trenches? Yeah, you bet. The Legacy. From military service to gangland shootouts, from wild prototypes to international variants, the Thompson submachine gun is a true icon of firearms history. There were even a few civilian semi-auto versions, and a few were converted for riot control with non-lethal munitions. The Tommy gun has worn many faces, but each one tells a story. The genius behind the Tommy gun was John T. Thompson, a West Point graduate and ordnance expert who helped shape modern warfare. His fingerprints are all over the iconic weapons: the M1903 Springfield, the M1917 rifle, and the legendary M1911 pistol, which came about after his experiments in a Chicago slaughterhouse of all places. He believed a combat pistol should be at least .45 caliber. And when John Browning delivered the M1911, Thompson's instincts were proven right. Even after retiring in 1918, Thompson played a key role in building rifles for both Britain and Russia after the war. And years before the term assault rifle existed, he was already envisioning weapons that filled the gap between pistols and rifles. To put it simply, if a firearm was shaped in the early 20th century, John Thompson probably had something to do with it. From gangsters to GIs, prototypes to legends, the Thompson submachine gun is more than a weapon. It's a story of ambition, innovation, and adaptability. We upload all the videos that we have to censor from YouTube to our Patreon. Right now, you can watch uncensored videos on the Battle of Ognjen, medieval warfare, and the Sherman tank, all on Patreon. History is epic. Watch it uncensored.